Deep in the jungles of Mexico, hidden for thousands of years, there are 17 giant stone heads. Some of them are 3 meters tall. Some of them weigh more than 40 tons. That is as heavy as a fully loaded military tank. And here is the first mystery. The people who made them, the Olmecs, had no metal tools. They had no wheels. They had no horses or donkeys to carry heavy loads. And yet they carved these heads from solid basalt. Basalt is one of the hardest rocks on Earth. But wait, there is a second mystery. The nearest source of basalt is more than 80 kilometers away. Through swamps, through jungles, across rivers. How did they move 40-ton stones without roads, without machines, and without animals? Nobody knows. And here's a third mystery. The faces on the heads do not look like the people who live there today. They have African features, thick lips, wide noses. Some historians say these faces belong to a forgotten people. Others say the Olmecs simply carved their rulers, but no one agrees. So, who were the Olmecs? They were the first major civilization in Central America. They appeared around 1500 years before Christ. That is more than 3,500 years ago. They built pyramids before the Maya. They played ball games before the Aztecs. Some historians even call them the mother civilization of Mexico. But here's the strange part. We know almost nothing about them. They left no books, no long inscriptions, just a few hundred artifacts buried in the jungle, and those 17 giant heads. The first head was discovered in 1862 by a farmer clearing trees. He thought it was an old kettle turned upside down. When he dug it up, he found a face staring back at him. Since then, archaeologists have found 16 more. Some are buried deep in the mud. Some lie in the middle of forgotten fields. Each one is different. Each one has a unique headdress, like a helmet or a crown. And here is what makes no sense. The heads were not standing in temples or palaces. They were found in random places, in swamps, near rivers, in the middle of nowhere. Some were lying face down, some were deliberately buried. Why? Did the Olmecs hide them? Did their enemies destroy them? Or did the people who made them simply disappear? That is the biggest mystery of all. Around 400 years before Christ, the Olmec civilization collapsed. Their cities were abandoned. Their art stopped. Their culture vanished. No one knows why. There is no evidence of war, no evidence of invasion, no evidence of disease or famine. The Olmecs just left and they took their secrets with them. Today, scientists have tried to solve the mystery of the giant heads. They used modern technology, 3D scans, geological studies, computer modeling. They discovered that the basalt used for the heads came from a specific mountain range, but they still cannot explain how the stones were transported. One theory says the Olmecs used rafts on rivers, but the nearest river is too shallow for a 40-ton stone. Another theory says they built roads out of logs and rolled the heads on wooden rollers, but that would have required hundreds of people and weeks of work, and there was no evidence of such roads. Some researchers have suggested something even stranger. What if the heads were not moved at all? What if they were carved right where they were found? That would mean the Olmecs carried their tools and sculptures to the middle of the jungle and work there. But then why would they leave them behind? And here is the most unsettling part. When you stand in front of an Olmec head, something strange happens. The eyes follow you. The face seems alive. It is not a simple carving. It is a portrait, a real person, someone who lived and breathed thousands of years ago. But we will never know his name or his story or why his face was carved into a 40-ton stone and left in the jungle. So what really happened to the Olmecs? There are three theories. Theory one, climate change. A severe drought made it impossible to grow food. People left. The civilization died, but there is no evidence of a drought at that time. Theory two, internal rebellion. The poor rose up against the rulers and destroyed their monuments. That would explain why the heads were buried face down. But again, no evidence of violence has been found. Theory three, something else, something we haven't discovered yet, a hidden enemy, a forgotten disaster, or perhaps the Olmecs simply fulfilled their purpose and disappeared on purpose. The truth is, no one knows. Today, you can see the Olmec heads in museums in Mexico. Some are still in the jungle, protected by fences and guards. Tourists come from all over the world to look at them. They take pictures, they ask questions, but no one leaves with an answer. And that perhaps is the real power of the Olmec heads. They do not speak, they do not explain, they just stare, silent, heavy, and absolutely impossible to forget. So here's a question for you. What would you do if you found a 40-ton stone face buried in your backyard? Would you keep it? Would you sell it? Or would you just stare back and wonder who put it there? The Olmecs left us 17 heads, 17 questions, and 0 answers. Maybe that is exactly what they wanted. Thanks for watching. If you want more ancient mysteries with no easy explanations, subscribe. And in the next video, we are going somewhere even stranger.